Hi, my name is Kirsten Bullock, and I've decided to take the Brendan Burchard Challenge and share with you 5 success principles. Today, the 5 success principles that I'll cover are related to growing a community. A little bit about me first, because if you've never met me before, you've never seen me before, you're probably wondering who is this person and what does she have to share with me about building a community. Well, a couple things. I've been working in the nonprofit world now for about 17 years, working with organizations of all sizes, dealing with all sorts of different social issues, educational issues, and so I've learned a lot along the way with that. The second important thing to know about me, and that you would get to know about me in a conversation or over a series of conversations, is I grew up with a brother with muscular dystrophy. And so being in that situation, I knew really well and really personally the importance of having a support network and a support community around us as a family. There's no way that we could have gotten through it without that network of support. And the final of the 3 things is I have 2 degrees, one in social work and one in business. So I joke with people that I feel a little schizophrenic sometimes. I want to help people, but then I understand there has to be a way to pay for it. So for me, my fundraising consulting and the work that I've done there has been very instrumental. It's been really important and helped me a lot with that. Well, a little about my interest in social capital and growing a community. Several years ago, I had the opportunity to hear Robert Putnam speak about his book, Bowling Alone, and he later wrote another book called Better Together. But he outlined the decline in social capital in our community. We're having less picnics, we're having fewer people are joining clubs, societies, fewer people attending church or another faith community. So all of these social indicators have been declining for several years. I'm not sure about the past couple years, but I can't imagine that it's getting much better. And so that's where my interest came from, and I've always kept an eye open for different ways to build community, different ways to grow community. And a few years ago, I guess it was 7 or 8 years ago now, I had the chance to lead a small group at my church. And we centered the study around growing a community and building a closer community among the 5 of us. And then I've since repeated that study with a couple other groups. And there were 5 principles that we covered in those studies that really stood out and that really helped us grow together and knit together as a group. The first one was learning how to be vulnerable and being open to people about the struggles that we're facing, about our histories, about our backgrounds. Just being open and sharing our stories went a long way with that. And in our businesses, by the way, these principles work too. Being open with our clients, with our potential clients, letting people get a closer glimpse of our lives so that they can get to know us a little bit better. And it can be scary to get out there like that, but being vulnerable and being open can make a big difference and help us build and grow relationships with people faster. The second thing that came up was listening. And really being intentional about listening to what people are saying. So often in conversations, we're just going through our minds and thinking about what we're going to say next, instead of being in the moment and listening very closely to what the person is saying, and then what might be beneath what the person is saying, asking some probing questions, finding out more about where they are, who they are, what's important to them. The third is gratitude, showing gratitude and being thankful for other people, and being thankful for what people are doing for us. I think that's pretty easy, saying thank you. And in fundraising, of course, that's been very essential to find different creative ways to say thank you instead of just, of course, saying it in print, verbally, and then coming up with other creative ways. Handwritten thank you notes are great because we so infrequently these days get any personal mail in our mailbox. Fourth is cultivating an environment of grace. It's easy to get frustrated, to be short-tempered with people, but by cultivating an environment of grace, when we start getting frustrated, instead of showing that, we stop and think about what might be behind the activity that the person is doing. So we give people the benefit of the doubt instead of jumping to the conclusion that they're out to get us or there's some underlying tension or negative thing there. So cultivating an environment of grace is really important as we build relationships, giving people that benefit of the doubt. And finally, affirming people for who they are, not just for what they do, but for who they are as a person. And a neat exercise that we did in the group was to write on 3x5 cards positive things that we saw in each other. A lot of times it's easy to overlook the things in ourselves that other people see as important and as something to be grateful for and to be affirming of. So those are the 5 success principles. And to recap it really quick, first of all is to be vulnerable, to be open, to share with people what's really going on in our lives and where we're coming from, to listen to other people as they're sharing, and to really sit back and take in what it is that they're saying. The third is to be gracious, of course, and thankful for what we have and for what people do for us, with us, around us, for the community. Cultivating that environment of grace, and finally affirming people when they do good things. And so I hope those help you. Thanks so much for listening.